You're looking through the tech manuals, flipping through the index, maybe looking for one of your favorite mechs, and you see Black Knight. And you're like, Black Knight. Let me check this mech out. You flip to the front. There it is. It looks like a knight on there. And then you start looking at the weapons, and you're pretty impressed on there. And you're looking at the heat sinks. It barely has enough to sort of fire these weapons. They're not double heat sinks, because remember, we're escalating the tech level a little bit there. So how does the Black Knight play? What's its role? And I'm going to ask the question. I do have one in my collection, although full disclosure, I don't play it regularly enough, simply because there's a whole bunch of mechs that are my personal favorites that I play every game. You know, if I'm playing 5 or 6 mechs in a game, I try to play 3 or 4 that I really, really love so much, and then kind of swap out, rotate out some experimental mechs, some mechs that I don't play that often. I'm not necessarily looking at being competitive or not, simply to enjoy my collection, explore my collection, but also push the tactics, maybe find some hidden gems. But even with the Black Knight, it doesn't hit that much rotation. No offense if that's the mech that you've inherited. Any mech is better than no mech, even a Locust. Here's the challenge I find with it. I'm going to push it out there. And then, of course, in the comments, those of you who regularly pilot this mech or explore it, let's open things up, open considerations up. So you start at long range with the PPC. It's got range. It's got good damage. Well, I have to actually back up a second. It's an all-energy mech. So that right there is a big plus. That means I don't have to worry about ammo explosions. I don't have to worry about ammo in the game. That is very, very helpful, especially if you're playing in some sort of campaign or mini-campaign. While it has weapons in the arms, it also has weapons in the torso. So, left and right. That means you've got a zombie mech. That means barring some wondrous critical hit, some crazy, crazy Battletech stuff that can happen anytime, any place, you've got to put the Black Knight down. You've got to commit to destroying this mech and really punching through to this mech and blowing it up. That's always a good thing. That is always a good thing. You're not going to get hit with an ammo hit. You're not going to get your primary weapons blown off and really have nothing now. It's tougher than it looks by the nature of its weapons, the armor, and the locations. So now we move back to the PPC. Gives you something to do at long range. Then when we get a little bit closer, we switch over to the large lasers. That's some decent bite. Slightly less heat, slightly less damage on there, but you've got the duality of both of them. Then when you get even closer, now you've got the medium lasers that you're shooting. Then when you get close enough, you got the small laser on there. So it feels like a cross between a grasshopper and honestly a Warhammer or a Marauder, where in the beginning, you know, you're firing the PPCs, then you're switching over like the grasshopper to the medium lasers. The challenge here, though, is, again, having the PPC. The problem is the PPC and the large lasers, you don't have enough heat management to even with all the heat sinks. I just find I don't have enough that reliably allows me to consistently chain and fire these weapons. A true energy mech works where at the long range you're firing the large laser. Then at closer range you're firing the large laser and the medium lasers. And then at really close range you're firing the large laser and the medium lasers and the small lasers. The intensity pushes up with the beam weapons the closer you get. You can't do that with the Black Knight, but it's equipped to do that. So ironically, rather than being like a frontline fighter, which at first appearance, that's what I believe how it looks like, it's actually an energy support mech. And I believe you don't really see many of these energy support mechs in the game. For the most part, you've got a Jaeger mech sitting in the back, plinking away. You might have a longbow sitting back, plinking away. You know, dedicated support type mechs, meaning they pick a range and they stay at that range. They offer something at that range. The Black Knight is a support mech that offers something at each range. and it works at that range with the rest of your lance. So at long range, yeah, it's going to do the PPC, maybe the large lasers. Maybe it'll switch just to large lasers. Then when it gets closer, it switches to just medium lasers. Then when it gets super close, it's going to do mediums and the small on there, rather than just blasting everything. I find it doesn't have a reliable alpha strike type setup and profile. It just can't handle it. Not a bad mech, because even in a supporting role, the fact that it is all energy and it's well armored and it can get its arms blown off, you're not getting nervous if you're getting surrounded. Well, actually you are. You never want to be surrounded. I get really nervous when when my longbow gets surrounded. Or if a mech tries to engage one-on-one with my longbow. I'm a support mech. I really can't be caught doing that. The Black Knight can, and it can deal with it. So your thoughts on its profile, your thoughts how it fits up. I do see it as a very deceptive mech because I believe it's utilized different than it appears for the most part on paper and in the tech manuals.